lovely ladies, and welcome to this webinar on how to raise your visibility on LinkedIn. First things first, it would be great to connect with you all, and my LinkedIn URL is at the top of the screen. I'm a bit old school and I find it much easier to connect with people on a desktop or a laptop than the mobile phone app for LinkedIn. I think it's much easier to personalize, and one way you can stand out and raise your visibility on LinkedIn is by personalizing your connection requests. Out of every 100, I would say I receive about 5 that are personalized. So ironically, by being social and telling people why you want to connect with them, they will connect with you far quicker, and it will lead to more opportunities down the line. As well as my personal profile, I also have a company page as a business owner called My Super Connector. And if you follow that, I share top tips and updates on LinkedIn. And last but not least, I have a LinkedIn group called Networking Tips with My Super Connector. There's a bit of a theme here. And this group is a safe space. So if you want to reach out and join the group after, I share again top tips and updates on LinkedIn, and you can ask questions in there, and everybody in the group is there to learn just about LinkedIn. So there is no such thing as a silly question in the group. Now, today I'm going to be chatting about how to raise your visibility. And the main way to raise your visibility on LinkedIn is by building a community. And I've got my community building formula up on the screen. It's these 5 points. And the first is you need to build solid foundations. So you need to fully build and flesh out and optimize your LinkedIn profile. So that's your personal profile. And as a business owner, you need to optimize your company page. And second, you need to get clear on your personal brand, what you stand for as an individual, and also your business brand. So you need to do a bit of a deep dive into who you are, what you stand for, what's your vision, what's your mission, who's your target audience, who's your ideal client avatar. You need to be super clear on all of that before you come to LinkedIn. And then number 3, you need to participate. You need to get ready to mingle, and I will go through all the different ways that you can do that on LinkedIn. And number 4, it's all about being social, because surprise, it's a social network, it's social media. So by being social, you're going to get it to work for you fully. If you're not social and if you just have an online profile, it will work, but not to the full extent that it should, okay? And last but not least, number 5, you need to be consistent and also congruent. So you need to have that same message in your profile and all your content so that you can build on that know, like, and trust factor. And when you build on that, you'll create a community. So today I'm going to go through, some top tips on your profile, how to create that community. I'm going to go into the top 5 points of my formula, and hopefully by the end you'll be liking LinkedIn a lot more, if not falling in love with it. And I wanted to just share the secret really to raising your profile on LinkedIn. It's giving, okay? It's all about the giving when it comes to any kind of networking. And sadly, too many people come to LinkedIn and they have the what's in it for me approach. They have heard that LinkedIn's great for sales, and they think that you can just come on and straight away pitch your product or service, which you can't. And I think this quote from Dale Carnegie sums it up. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So when you do come to LinkedIn and it comes to creating your content, it has to be community focused, and you have to do your research and figure out what do people want to see. It's not about endless self-promotion. And really, when it comes to your content, the ratio you should use is the 80-20 formula. And this means 80% of the time, so just say 4 days out of 5, you need to be sharing engaging content, informing people, educating, motivating, inspiring, entertaining. So on the 5th day, that 20%, you can have a soft push about you, your product or service. And even then it's in a form of value. So it could be in the form of a video or a blog. So you really need to earn the right before you can ask for anything. You need to have that giving approach first before LinkedIn's going to fully work for you. And I just wanted to share that straight off the bat because it's a common mistake that people make and they have all their posts about them. So I took this graphic just off the LinkedIn website there recently, and you can see at this point in time, there are almost 740 million members on LinkedIn in 200 countries and regions worldwide. So roughly 1 out of every 3 professionals in the world is on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is the largest professional business network in the world. And I think of LinkedIn as a social network as opposed to social media. It's a place primarily for me to network and generate opportunities. I'll go into it in more detail in the coming slides. But yeah, I think of LinkedIn as a social network. I never really think of it as social media. You can see in the UK, we've got about 30 million members. And you might think, well, do I need to be on LinkedIn? Because there are over 2 billion people on Facebook. But the people on LinkedIn, they are in that professional business mindset and they have the money to invest in your products and services. So you've got a lot of the CEOs and founders of companies on LinkedIn, the C-suite, the decision makers, and they're not necessarily on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So LinkedIn is very powerful in that respect. And I'd love to know, where do you think you are when it comes to the LinkedIn pyramid of success? Are you absent, a lurker, a networker, or an influencer? If you're absent, maybe you don't have a profile or you created one a while back and you never really log on. If you're a lurker, you could be on LinkedIn a little while or a long time. You're looking on from the sidelines. You're a bit of a voyeur, but you're not really engaging. If you're a networker, you are engaging, you're looking and you're also responding, and you are beginning to be productive, and you're starting to see small bits, small results and small bits of your influence. And you can also become an influencer on LinkedIn. And this doesn't mean you have to be like Kim Kardashian with a zillion followers. You can be a micro influencer or a nano influencer with 1,000 or 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. And to become an influencer, you just have to be posting engaging content consistently. So it's all about that consistency and obviously about that engagement. There's no point posting content if you're not going to engage your community. So hopefully by the end of this webinar, you're all going to be networkers, and some of you might be aiming for that influencer status. I'm going to tell you about the benefits of networking on LinkedIn, teach you a few skills and hacks that will help you to work smarter, not harder. We want to make LinkedIn work for us because at the end of the day, it's a tool that fits into our life, not the other way around. And if you're already networking or you want to become a networker, I would advise you to join communities of engaged members on LinkedIn. So groups are a great place to hang out. Like I said, join my group and you'll meet other people in the same boat who want to learn. And if you want to become an influencer, like I said, you just need to find your purpose and figure out what way you want to make a contribution. And that's all you need. And the good news is, if you are listening and you are a lurker, you are looking on in the sidelines, you're not engaging, 90% of that 740 million people on LinkedIn are lurking. So there is massive organic reach on LinkedIn, which is why I love it. If you are brave enough to post, you will really stand out. There are only 1% roughly of those members creating original content. And then we have 9% of people who are commenting and engaging with that content. So even if you do a simple comment, a sentence, every time you do that comment, you're leaving a virtual business card. People can see your headshot, your photo, your face, and also your headline. And you're giving back to your audience, to your community. You know how it is when you post something yourself. You want people to like it, to comment, to share. So when you do that to other people, they will remember you fondly. They will remember your face, your name. And then when you post, the law of reciprocity kicks in and they will pay it back. But for that payback, you have to engage with your community first and give back to them. So by the end of this, I'd love to get you all in the top 10%. I know some of you are already commenting, which is amazing, and some of you are already creating original content, which is amazing. So you can see there's massive opportunities here compared to the other platforms. It's got the highest organic reach. And this is what most people think of LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has evolved massively since it was set up. It's nearly going 20 years now. It's hard to believe. And a lot of people think of it still as an online CV, but there's so much more to it than that. They think of spammy salespeople in their inbox. They think of recruiters, human resources, career services, and corporate. So men and women in suits. I'm going to break down what LinkedIn is because it's a lot more than that. And first and foremost, it is a huge database, okay? The way Google is a database, so is LinkedIn. And you go onto Google and you use the search bar probably most days. And the magic happens if you go onto LinkedIn and you use the LinkedIn search bar as well. Because when you look for people, you will find amazing business connections, you will find company pages, and you will find groups all at your fingertips. And it will be searchable by both Google and LinkedIn's algorithm. And Google actually ranks LinkedIn higher than any other social media. So higher than Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And just a way to test this out is if you actually go onto Google and type your own name in, and if you're a business owner and you have your own website, quite often you will get both of these come up on the first page of Google, but your LinkedIn profile will actually rank higher. So what a common mistake a lot of business owners make is, it's not a mistake, but they spend a lot of time and effort on their website, on the copy, on the branding, on the SEO, on the flow, everything. And then they put no time into their LinkedIn profile. So what happens if somebody lands on your profile first? Your profile shows up over your website. They're not going to see that lovely, beautiful website because you haven't impressed them with the profile. And for me, your LinkedIn profile is your personal career website. So you need to put as much effort into that, if not more, than your website. Okay, so the second thing LinkedIn is, it's a networking tool. It is the largest professional business network in the world. So you can see your immediate connections, but you can also see mutual connections with third parties and ask for introductions. So it's a great way to tap into your wider network. It's also an amazing platform for growing your personal brand and establishing yourself as an expert and a thought leader in your field. And you can do this even through simple comments. One of the reasons I love LinkedIn is that you don't always have to create original content. You can curate amazing content from experts. You put your take at the top, and that positions you as an expert. So it's really the lazy way to position yourself as an expert. So simple comments really help you to stand out. It's also a fantastic platform to showcase social proof with your endorsements and skills section and recommendations. We live in an age of social proof. We look up, testimonials on TripAdvisor, whether it's a holiday or a restaurant, the same applies to LinkedIn. We will look to see what people have said about you, your product or your service. Do you do a good job? How have other people found you? So if you don't have recommendations on your profile, I would urge you all to at least seek 10 because social proof is massive and we all look at these reviews. And last but not least, LinkedIn, it's a way for your potential clients to find what they need in a few different ways. So one is that LinkedIn search bar. People do not use the LinkedIn search bar enough, and it's all there at your fingertips if you use it. A second way people can find you is via LinkedIn groups, and I'll go into these in a few more slides. And the last way is content on the general home feed from your immediate first degree network. So that's the people you are immediately connected to. Your second degree network are similar to your friend of a friend on Facebook. So one person removed, and then you can go further again. So even if you have a small network on LinkedIn, maybe only 100 connections, your reach can still be quite high. It could be 10,000, 20,000, depending on your network. So never be afraid to tap into your network. And if I'm connected to anyone that can help you, don't be shy, reach out and ask for that important introduction. So the great news today for all of you is LinkedIn works for all business types, all industries, and all career stages, okay? I believe that it works for B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer, whether you are a sole trader, a startup, a large corporation, whether you are a beautician, a makeup artist, a hairdresser, a yoga teacher, a coach, a trainer. I believe it works for absolutely everyone. You just need to figure out how to get it working for you, okay? So I will give an example of a makeup artist. You might think, well, LinkedIn's not the place for me to hang out. My immediate clients, they may not be on there. Well, they could be. If you join a local group of your area, you'll get to meet lots of local business owners. So you could meet your clients directly that way. And you can also think bigger. LinkedIn doesn't have to always be about your immediate customer. It can be about finding partners and associates. So, for example, that makeup artist could partner up with a local photographer or several photographers, and they could work together on shoots. They could also partner up with maybe a wedding choreographer or expert, or somebody in events or a venue. And all of these people are on LinkedIn. Imagine if they partner up with somebody who puts on a wedding exhibition at a massive conference like the NEC or something. That way, that makeup artist actually gets exposure to hundreds or thousands of people in one day, as opposed to that one client. So it's about thinking outside the box, okay? I honestly believe that you can tap into all of your clients via LinkedIn. It doesn't matter whether you're B2B or B2C. And the great thing is, if there are not many people belonging to your industry, so for example, the makeup artist, I'll stick with that, that's great, because you are the one who will stand out on the LinkedIn home feed, whereas there could be a zillion of you on Instagram or Facebook trying to get that coverage. So just because other people aren't on the platform doesn't mean that you can't be the breakthrough one that stands in people's heads and that makes that impact. Okay, so hopefully that's given you some food for thought. I believe it's for absolutely everyone. And some of the benefits of LinkedIn, primarily to network. And there are three main ways. And most marketers and LinkedIn trainers will tell you it's all about the home feed. And I don't believe it's all about the home feed. I think you can also network really well in Messenger, even if you chose that on its own, or in groups, or you can do a combination. So it's about figuring out what works best for your personality and your goals. There's no one size fits all approach when it comes to LinkedIn. Good news for the introverts: if the thought of going on the home feed or groups makes you feel sick, don't worry, you can get LinkedIn working for you through Messenger, okay? Private messages. You also use LinkedIn for research and to gather market intelligence. Like I said, it's all in there. Use that LinkedIn search bar. It's all there at the touch of your fingertips. You can develop brand awareness for your business. You can generate opportunities and build relationships. Like I said, you can find new business partners, associates to collaborate with, potential employees, and ultimately you can establish yourself as an expert and a thought leader in your field by posting on your preferred subject and also answering questions or responding to other content on the home feed with that topic in mind. So it's always about being clear on who you are and what you're trying to achieve and staying on brand. Now, I'm going to chat a little bit about personal branding and your personal brand. And you might ask, why is that necessary? Especially if you're a small business owner, maybe you're a sole trader, and you think, well, I don't have a big global recognized brand like Amazon or Nike. Why do I need a personal brand? Well, your personal brand is your business, whether you're aware of it or not. And we all have a personal brand. And to quote Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. It's not really what you say about yourself. It's not you going, oh, I'm amazing. It's whether other people say you're amazing or not. And when it comes to LinkedIn, it's so important to be authentic and to be your real self when you are on LinkedIn, when you are commenting or posting. Speak with your voice, because there's nothing worse when somebody meets you in real life or on Zoom and you're not the same as that LinkedIn persona. So you really need to be authentic and true to who you are. When you do that, LinkedIn becomes so much easier and so much more fun. It's when we overthink it, we get imposter syndrome and we think we need to be super professional or super formal. I mean, filter yourself, but just, be your best self on LinkedIn. That's the best way to go around it. I am very much myself. I probably filter myself for a half a second before I do any post, because I know people are going to read it. And even if it's a comment, I know people are going to read it. So I'm always kind of thinking, how will this be perceived? But I always speak in my own voice. I don't use very complicated language. I just really write as I speak, because that's what people will resonate with, a human being. And your personal brand's made up of a variety of things. So your reputation and your credibility, and you can showcase this all throughout your profile. And like I said, those recommendations are super important. You can showcase your personality as well through your copy, through your messaging, through your content. You can create that great online presence. And one of the benefits of LinkedIn is you've no commute. You can hop straight on with your lockdown hair in your PJs. Nobody knows. And you can, filter yourself. You can think before you respond. So it's a fantastic way to get your voice in the room. And you can also convey energy through that content and through your messaging. Just because it's online doesn't mean it has to lack personality and heart. And today I'm going to chat about the 2 P's in relation to raising your profile on LinkedIn. And the first P is presence. So it's all about building that solid foundation, because the ultimate content on LinkedIn is your profile. Everything comes back to that profile, no matter what posts you put out on the home feed or in groups or what messages you send. People will go back to your profile, which is the hub, and go, who is this person? So the ultimate content is there. So advise you all to optimize your profile as much as possible, fill it out and make sure it's working for you. Likewise, if you're a business owner, create a LinkedIn company page. This is a second opportunity for you to showcase your brand on LinkedIn and get more targeted. So it's definitely worth having both. The second P, it's all about participation and getting ready to mingle. And as I mentioned before, there are 3 ways to network on LinkedIn. The first is the home feed. And I think a lot of people get overwhelmed. They think it's all about the home feed, but it's not. And even, anyone can find a way to feel comfortable on the home feed, whether you're introverted or extroverted. And there are many ways you can use it. So you can write short written posts. You can share graphics, you can share videos. I haven't put in here, but you can go live on LinkedIn as well if you prefer live streaming. You can write long form articles. If you can't bear to create any original content, comments, like I said, are amazing. Every time you leave a comment, you're leaving a virtual business card with your headshot and your headline. You're engaging, you're giving back, and you're networking, and you're showing up on the feed. So at the bare minimum, comments are the way to start. You've also got stories on LinkedIn now, similar to stories on Instagram. You can also use polls, which are a great feature to spark engagement and for research, and then you can repurpose that poll in a future post or blog. And you can also share branded documents, which are PDFs. So you can create these to really get your brand out there on the home feed, and you can make them with something like Canva or Adobe, Photoshop, whatever works for you. And branded visuals are really popular at the moment. The second way you can hang out on LinkedIn is via LinkedIn Messenger. So these are the private messages. And there are 2 types. One is a one-to-one, just you and one person, or else you can have a group message like in the academy, okay? Several people in the group at the same time. And there are 3 types of messages: written, audio voice notes, and video messages. Now, audio voice notes you can record for up to 60 seconds long, very similar to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, and video messages you can record for up to 2 minutes long. And these are a super way to raise your visibility on LinkedIn and to move the conversation on. So obviously I start with written. I send off that personalized connection request. I probably do another written one straight away, but sometimes I will move straight to an audio. That way they know I am a human being and they take note of you. They know you've personalized it. You've taken the time to make this. It's not a copy and paste message, because so many people are jaded with written messages on LinkedIn. So the way for you to raise your visibility is audio or video, or both, okay? And nobody will ever ignore an audio or a video message, but they might ignore one of your written messages. If anyone wants to test out audio and video with me, I'm all for it, okay? And the last way, excuse me, I'm just gonna have a quick sip of water. Okay, the last way to network is in LinkedIn groups. And you can join 100 groups on LinkedIn. And don't worry, I'm not telling you you have to join 100 or you get overwhelmed. I'd say focus maybe on 5. So I'll give you an example. Which 5 groups would you join? Well, I would join a local group of where you live, whether you're in London or Devon or Amsterdam. Join a group of local business owners. Then join a group related to your peers for research, okay? So for me, I'd be in another social media group. Then if you've got any particular hobbies, you never know, you can connect with people over that way. Maybe you're into horse riding or yoga, join one related to your hobby. If you went to university, there will no doubt be an alumni group. You never know who you could find in that group who can help you on your journey. And of course, the most important, as a business owner, join a group or several groups where your target audience hang out, okay? So ask yourself, who are your target audience, and go use the LinkedIn search bar and find those groups and join. So if you belong to any business network, perhaps you're a member of an FSB, a Chamber of Commerce, a BNI, a women's network, find out if they've got LinkedIn groups, and if they do, go and join them and reach out to the members and simple message, hi, Mary, we both belong to the London Chamber of Commerce group on LinkedIn. I'm a fellow member. I'd love to connect with you. That's it, short and sweet. Because if you met those people face to face or at a chamber event, that's what you do. So why not do it on LinkedIn? And it's you reaching out warm, not cold. You've already got something in common. And I would say I've built probably about a third or a quarter of my network at this stage from groups of like minds. So associations I belong to, memberships I belong to. It's a great way to build your network. And the way that you can network in a LinkedIn group, a variety of ways, very, very similar to the general home feed. You can share posts. You can also ask questions. They're a great way to get engagement. And people like to answer questions. So that's a great way to stand out. You can comment on existing posts, give back to your network. And that's a great way to stand out locally. And ultimately, look at the people in a group and build your network. And do not be shy to reach out and connect with them, because LinkedIn is a social network. And that's why everyone is on it, to connect and create opportunities. So there is no one size fits all approach. It's about what feels right for you. You might want to do bits of all three, or you might just want to focus on one or two, and that is absolutely fine. Now, I'm just going to tell you briefly about my journey using LinkedIn as an employee and an entrepreneur, just so you can see how I've used it. It might give you some ideas or inspiration. So I'm originally from Dublin. I moved to London about 20 years ago. Back in Ireland, I studied English and French at uni, and I started working on a magazine. I was an editor's assistant for a techie magazine called Technology Ireland. And when I moved to London, I tried to break into publishing, but I wasn't able to. So I rebranded myself as a high-level personal assistant with my transferable skills. And I started to join a lot of face-to-face networking groups so that I could get the lay of the land really in London, because London was huge compared to Dublin. I didn't know the geography. I needed to check out hotels and restaurants, lots of venues, so I could do my job better. So I did lots of familiarization trips and connected with a lot of PAs in real life. And around this time, LinkedIn started, and I am not going to lie, I ignored it for the first few years because I was like, what is social media? What is this LinkedIn? Do I need to be on it? Is it for the C-suite? Can I be on it? Can I go on it as a PA? Is it for me? Am I allowed? And then like this webinar, I attended one and I thought, you know what, I'm going to join it. It sounds like a great place to hang out. And of course, one of the benefits of online networking is there's no commute. You can do it anytime. So I started using it to, first of all, connect with my colleagues. And I did this locally in London, then nationally around the UK, and then globally. And then the same thing with my peers. So PAs in London who could help me on different sides of the city, whether they were the West End, the City, the Docklands, I could help them. I was based in the City. I could help a PA in the West End and vice versa. And then it was like PAs around the UK and PAs around the world. So we started to kind of lean in on each other. There was that community focus. I also connected with our clients so I could, build a relationship with them. Also suppliers. At the time I worked in financial services, and it was great. I connected with so many hoteliers, restaurant managers, and it was so powerful. I could get any restaurant booking or hotel booking really at the drop of a hat because I had connected with the heads of all of these places. So it was amazing for me. And I also used it in terms of networking. Anytime I would go to an event or a conference, if I could get the delegate list in advance, I'd reach out to everyone on LinkedIn. So even now when I go into an event, whether it's a Zoom meeting, somebody recognizes me, I'm always welcomed. And as an introvert, it takes away that icky, awkward feeling of networking, and then it kind of gets me off to a great start. So I would advise that for you now, if you're ever going to any kind of event or conference, find the people on LinkedIn. It's a warm introduction, because by the time they see you on Zoom or in real life, they've already started to buy into you and generate that know, like, and trust factor. So on the top left of the screen, I won the title of the most networked PA in London. And at that point in time, I was using LinkedIn. Really, I had a solid profile. It was very well thought out in terms of my target audience and what I was trying to do and achieve. But I used mainly Messenger. So Messenger in its own, I was not on the home feed and I was not really in groups. So I just want to say, it is possible to stand out if you are behind the scenes, which is one of the reasons I love LinkedIn. You don't have to constantly be rah, rah, rah on the home feed, okay? So hopefully that's good news for some of you listening. It doesn't take as much effort as you think it's going to take. And then little by little, my confidence grew and I started to do comments first, dipping my toe in. I started to join a few groups. I was in groups of my peers, got in the swing, started to write a few articles. And I started to think, how can I give back to my community? How can I help them? And at this point in time, I was really fed up of the perception of a PA being T in typing, because I thought, I'm a graduate and I'm, trilingual. So I'm really fed up with this stereotype. And I know PAs who have master's degrees and speak 5 languages and they're running companies as PA to the CEO. So I started to kind of champion the PA profession in my posts. And I wrote articles such as how to network as a PA, how to create a PA network within your company, how to create a proposal for a PA network that you'd submit to HR, how to get your job spec revised as a PA so you can increase your salary. So obviously I was very popular with my PA community and this got me noticed. And the thing was, it wasn't about me. It was about how can I help others? And it took away, I think when we first come to LinkedIn or any social media, we think it's about us. But as a business owner, it's never about us. It's about our clients and what they want to read. Okay. So by giving them more of that, you will stand out, okay? And at one point in time, I was ranked as the #1 PA online. I don't know if you can see the number 3 on the screen there was David Gandhi's PA. I was a PA in financial services, not as sexy, but it just goes to show you don't have to be in the loudest in the room to make an impact. As long as you are social, consistent, and community focused, you will stand out. I'm going to briefly touch on my why for me setting up in business. And you might think, why is this important? Well, it is important in relation to LinkedIn because there are lots of LinkedIn trainers out there, but there's only one of me. And I've got my story and people will connect with me because of my story. And the same will happen to you as a business owner. People need to know your why, and marketing has evolved. In the past, we didn't know anybody's why before Simon Sinek or anything. We didn't care. You just marketed the product or service and that was it. But now it's about connecting as an individual. And we live in an age that is people to people. So whether you're selling a product or a service, people will buy you as a person. So my why is basically top right, you can see my sexy surgical stockings. I had back surgery a few years ago. So that's me after the op. And I had to take 6 months off work. At that point in time, I'd won national awards, global awards, regional awards as a PA, but it wasn't part of my job. It was a hobby and I'd studied lots of courses. So being off after the op was a bit like COVID. It was time to stop and think. And I think a lot of women who have maternity leave have the same kind of, they stop and think and figure out, what am I doing in my life? And around the same time, my mother was ill. That's a picture of us on the bottom right-hand corner. And she was hospitalized for 6 months. So that was quite worrying. And about a year or so earlier to this, I had got divorced from my first husband. On the positive now, just to keep it on a positive note, my back is fine. I do Pilates. I'm all good. My mother is well. And I'm happily remarried, okay? Because I don't want to make this all misery. Really sad thing that I can't improve on is the top left-hand corner. My lovely, beautiful friend Katrina committed suicide. So all of this happened around the same time and it made me go, do you know what? Life is short to be doing something that you don't really love anymore, that doesn't really spark you with joy. And I want to help people to get their voice out there. My mother's got mental health issues. Katrina had mental health issues. And, I think the stress of things that happened to me in my life impacted me and made me have physical issues with my back. So hence I set up my company, My Super Connector. And at that point, I realized that a lot of people struggled with tooting their horn and getting their voice in the room like I had. They struggled with selling themselves in their profile and bigging themselves up, especially in the UK and Ireland. We're not really that type of culture where we kind of go, hey, I'm great. Whereas LinkedIn is very American. It's a very show and tell culture, and people openly showcase their expertise. So, you know, I get it. I used to cringe at the start when I used to look at my profile, and I actually had people help me write my profile at the start. And then I realized, you know what? I use social media and I can do a better job than this because they're not really factoring on keywords. So I thought, well, you know, I can do a better job, hence me doing it now. And I can help people to get their voice in the room. And because I've got an English degree, I am a bit anal with language and positioning, and I love helping people to polish up their profile and big themselves up. And most people I see on LinkedIn start bigging themselves up in their summary, like 3 or 4 paragraphs down. And I'm like, no, no, no. Let me polish that up for you. So that's what I do now. And again, I'm very community focused. Now I help business owners to get their voice in the room. And I try to, you know, put my content all around that community. It's not so much about me. It's about how can I help others. And there's nothing I do that is rocket science here. It's about being social, consistent and community focused. And it's led me to getting, you know, awards as a business owner, national recognition, vice number 10, kind of shortlisted and showcased in campaigns. So there's nothing I do that is rocket science. It's social, consistent, community focused, okay? And I do pretty much the same as I did as an employee. I do a mix of Messenger, home feed and groups. And if I had to choose one, I would choose Messenger. So I am the oddball LinkedIn trainer because all the rest will tell you it's all about the home feed, and I'll tell you, no, it's not. Okay, so now I want to just quickly talk about the LinkedIn Rockstars community. And you might think, what the hell is she talking about, Rockstars? Well, basically, this is a list of my peers around the world. So fellow LinkedIn trainers, and you have to be nominated to get on this list. And to get onto the list, I'm just going to use the cursor now. You have to be a rock star, and I believe you can all be rock stars. And to qualify to be a LinkedIn rock star, it's all about that real desire to help. At the very start, I mentioned it's all about the giving. It's about sharing your outstanding knowledge, making this clear in your profile, and sharing it in your content, following that 80-20 rule, inspiring, motivating, educating, entertaining. Then it's about being a caring person, having a caring attitude, being kind and giving. And then it's about being a super connector. Connecting people, I do a lot of introductions in the back end. Similar to an email introduction, I do them all the time in LinkedIn, and people start to do them back to you. And how nice is that as a business owner when you get that introduction and instantly you have a lead? So the more you get into that habit, that will happen to you, and that's all behind the scenes, okay? And then it's all about generating that trust with your network. The more you show up consistently, and you're social and you're community focused, they'll start to know, like, and trust you. And again, it's about being active. Sorry about the cursor, it's going a bit crazy. So it's about actively engaging and ultimately relationship building, because it is a social network. Like I said, I don't think of LinkedIn as social media. I know it is, but I think of it primarily as a social network because it's the biggest professional network in the world. So check out this list of LinkedIn Rockstars. You can find them by typing in the hashtag LinkedIn Rockstars in the search bar. It was created by Brenda Meller, who is a LinkedIn trainer based in the US. I'm going to see if I can put the cursor around her head. There she is in the second line. That's Brenda there. And it's a great community. We all specialize in different things. There's my little head at the top. So I specialize in profile optimization. I'm all about creating that solid foundation and tooting your horn. I'm about Messenger as well, connecting with people, and I'm about organic reach and milking that organic reach for all it's worth. So I don't specialize in paid advertising or Navigator or Premium. I'm all about the free version. So check them out. And finally, I'm going to give you some tips, and these are all in relation to creating that amazing first impression on LinkedIn. And the 3 simple tips I'm going to give you today, they're going to help to position your brand with clarity and confidence. You need to have a clear brand so people know what you're all about. It's going to help you to attract the right audience and opportunities, to grow that real life influence, to generate visibility and leads, because you need to be visible to stand out. You need to have that X factor. It's going to help you to build your authority and your expertise, and to connect to decision makers and action takers. And I need you all to be action takers as well on LinkedIn to get it fully working for you. And ultimately, it's going to help you to create a career and a business that you love. And sorry, I'm just taking another quick sip of water. So it's all about first impressions. You've only got 7 seconds, and the 3 ways to make an impact on LinkedIn are through your cover banner, your headshot, and the headline. So the top down, okay? So whether you are on the desktop or the app, this is what people see first. So we're going to start with the cover banner. And I'm going to just put the cursor there. The cover banner is the area behind your head, also known as the cover photo. And this is your West End banner. This is your Broadway billboard, your prime advertising real estate on your profile. This showcases who you are and what you do and how you can help. It's your warm introduction. So think of it as the graphic on the homepage of your website. Imagine you had no graphic. What a missed opportunity. And that's what this is. Now, there's no set template here. I've got my brand colors on this one. I've got my logo. You can see I'm a LinkedIn specialist, so you know that's what she does. I've broken down my services, and I've also put my website URL up there. You could have a variety of images. I would say definitely stick to your brand colors. By all means, stick your logo up there as well. And put your keywords. It's all about you figuring out what keywords do you want out there. The main advice I would say is, oops, sorry about this, guys. It's gone a little bit ahead. The main advice I would say is, hopefully you can see the cursor. See where my text starts here, more towards the right. Make sure your text starts towards the right, because if you have text too far over onto the left, it will wrap behind your head on the app. So that's the only real advice. But you can create a banner like this on a platform like Canva, and there are banner templates in place with the right sizing, and you just make it up yourself, or you can get a graphic designer to do it for you. And you know, if in doubt, outsource all the way. And like I said, your cover photo, it's your opportunity to showcase your personality and to warm up your audience. The next thing I'm going to chat about is your professional headshot, and I really believe it should be a professional headshot, not a selfie that you've taken yourself. And there are 2 things it needs to be. The first is 400 by 400 pixels, so it needs to be decent quality. And I believe your entire face should be visible and centered on LinkedIn, so no hiding near any corners. LinkedIn's not Instagram. It's not a place to get too artistic and creative, looking whimsically to the right or the left. People need to see the whites of your eyes on LinkedIn, and it's all about generating that know, like, and trust factor. And I believe color pictures do better than black and white as well. If you're really stuck about your picture, there is a website called photofeeler.com where you can load up your headshot, and then you'll get it ranked by members of the public and artificial intelligence, and they'll rank it in terms of likability, credibility, and influence. So the ones I've ever used, you know, are ones that have kind of got me 85% and higher for both, for all 3. And it's all about, obviously, the look, the colors, but the stance, because I have had pictures in the past where I've been slightly to the right or the left. So the ones where I haven't been looking straight on have not scored as high in terms of credibility and influence. So the way you are positioned matters as well. Ask yourself these questions about your existing shot. Is it a selfie? Is it well lit and professional looking? Is it up to date? It's a bit like online dating. Is it 10 years old, 20 years old? Does it even look like you? Do you look friendly and approachable? Are the colours you're wearing, do they reflect your brand? Are you dressed suitably for the profession that you're representing? Because LinkedIn is a professional network. And ultimately, would you want to do business with the person in the photo? Would you trust that person? So now we're jumping onto the headline section, which is the area underneath your name, and you've got 220 characters that you can use here. Previously it was only 120, and in the last year LinkedIn increased it, which is amazing, and I'm going to break it down for you now. So the headline, really, it's the biggest mistake I see made on LinkedIn, especially business owners. You get a lot of them putting up things like CEO, founder, managing director, and you just think, unless somebody's doing a search of founders and CEOs, you're wasting characters. Or a lot of business owners, they put the name of their company in the headline, and it's kind of a waste of characters. The only time you would do that is if it's a globally recognized company like LinkedIn or Facebook. If it's your company and you're a sole trader or a small company and people don't know it, don't waste the characters, because we can see where you work. It's just opposite. It's the logo opposite. It's in your experience. It's better to have those keywords in the title saying who you are and how you can help, because that's how people will find you with the LinkedIn search. So I've given an example here of Dion, and you can see on the right hand side there are 3 things that you need to tick off. Number 1, who are you? What is your title? Number 2, who do you help? What is your niche? The more niche, the better. And 3, how do you help, or some kind of proof point. So Dion, she's a translator. Now, if she leaves it as that, as translator or CEO or founder or something, she's not going to show up in any search. But if she starts to put in some keywords, and I'm just going to use the cursor here, for example, London is a keyword, and maybe somebody needs a copywriter. They type in London copywriter and they type in Italian, and maybe they put in hospitality. Dion has a great chance of showing up in search, okay? Because that is an SEO keyword optimized headline, and you have 220 characters for a reason, so use them as much as you can, okay? Ask yourself these questions. Is your location important? Do you only work in London, Devon, Amsterdam, Oslo? If so, put it in. If you're global or international, put that in so people know that they can contact you. Do you only work in a specific industry or sector? Maybe you only serve female entrepreneurs or SMEs or the beauty industry or financial services or construction. The more niche you can be, the better, because then people will think of you in relation to that niche. You can highlight your specialisms, your years of experience, if you've won any awards or been shortlisted, but ultimately you need to know your keywords, okay? And if you're really stuck, there are lots of keyword planners out there. You've got Google, they have a keyword planner, and then another good one is Moz, moz.com. So you need to do your research and know your target audience and the words they're putting in. So when I first started, I kind of positioned myself as a LinkedIn consultant, and I am a consultant, but most people call me a LinkedIn trainer. So I had to put in LinkedIn trainer, and you can put in several headlines. So you could be, for me, I could be LinkedIn trainer, LinkedIn consultant, and then I could have a speaker, mentor, author. You know, you can have a few different headlines because people will find you for different things. The main thing is be specific and use clear language. Don't get creative and obtuse. You have to think, what are people going to type into the search bar? And, you know, it's basic language. Like I said, London, copywriter. It's never going to be a free-flowing sentence. I had one guy, I'll give you an example. He had inspiring leaders, inspiring minds. And I thought, what the hell do? You need to have that at the start. I need to know, are you an executive coach? Are you a trainer? What are you? Because I'm never going to know. So be specific and use clear language, and ask yourself, does this headline align with my personal brand as an individual? And does it effectively deliver my value? Does it give me the X factor? Do people want to read on and see more? And I'm going to touch a tiny winchy bit on the about section. Okay, this is like a little bonus extra. This is the area that most people get hung up on. And I just want to say, if you haven't impressed them in the top 3, they're not even going to come down here. And if they do come down here, as you can see on the screen, I'm just going to get the cursor here. The about section, you can only really see 2 sentences or so, and people are prompted to click see more. So you need to have an impactful opening, okay, to make people want to click to see more. And I see so many people start to sell themselves in paragraph 3 or 4. Bring it to the top. Toot that horn, okay? And write this whole section in the first person, because we live in a people-to-people society. Whether you are selling a product or a service, they're going to buy you as an individual. So make sure it's all in the first person. And you can see you've got the advantage of featuring media underneath this section. So you can feature videos, graphics, recent posts, brochures, PowerPoints. It's really an amazing opportunity for you to take advantage of, because your potential clients will scroll through. And even if you just have one thing attached, if you make it a video of you to camera, that will be amazing. People are nosy and curious, and they will check you out, and it'll be a yes or a no. Yes, I want to connect with that person. They look like the right fit, or no, they're not for me. And even that's good, because you've saved all that time wasting of connecting and mailing and Zooming to just find out you're not the right team fit, or, you know, the right fit for each other. So definitely, you can see on the desktop, you can see 2.5. Don't ask me about the half. That's just the way they've set it up. And on the app, you can only see 1. So even at a bare minimum, if you only put one thing, put a video of you to camera saying who you are, 60 seconds long, and it will really help you to connect with people. And I promise I'm nearly at the end now. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust, but ultimately it's the role of content that is going to set you apart. And content is everywhere. Content is in your profile. Content is in that content you share on the home feed or in the home feed of a group, or your messages are content. Your comments are content. So as long as you're consistent and you're on brand and you're community focused, it will help to build that know, like, and trust. Okay. And if you're thinking, Jennifer, how long is this going to take me? Am I going to be all day on LinkedIn? I don't have the time for this. Don't worry. All the hard work goes in at the start, building the foundation of your profile and your company page and your strategy. And then it's a case of rinse and repeat. So at a bare minimum, you could hop onto LinkedIn for 5 to 10 minutes a day. And this is what you need to do. Number one, check and respond to all messages. So treat it like your emails. I go in, at least within every 24 hours and respond. I'm not in my inbox the whole time. I dip in maybe 2 or 3 times a day, in the morning, at lunch, in the late afternoon. Check and act on all notifications. See if somebody's tagged you in. You could be missing an opportunity. I could have tagged one of you in a post. Somebody might need I keep saying makeup artist. You are the example of the day. Somebody might need a makeup artist, or they might need a photographer or a career coach. And I could be tagging you all in saying, hey, check out this lady. And if you miss that, it's a missed opportunity. Okay. Check your connection requests. Somebody could have been referred to you or might be reaching out to work with you. Check your activity section as well to monitor your posts to see if you've not missed out on any engagement. So generally, I would respond to every comment on a post that I've done, unless it's blatant spam. If it's blatant spam, you can ignore it. But every other comment I would respond to. And check and note responses to group discussions. So if you've dipped into a group, maybe you've posted in there, go back in just to see you're not missing anything. And if you want to actively build your network, you can send one new connection request each day. And as I mentioned at the very start, always tailor your invitation unless it's someone you know really well. If you know them really well, you can send one without doing it. But in general, it's good etiquette and practice to always put a message in there. And if that seems like too much hard work, don't worry. You can set aside time once a week or once a month and maybe target a group that you're going to reach out to, or do a search of your target audience and do outreach maybe one day a month. You don't have to do it every day, but at the bare minimum, spend 5 minutes on messages, notifications, your activity. Okay, so I promise it's a lot easier than you think, and it's all about that consistency and being social. That is what carries you through. And before I wrap up, I just wanted to chat briefly about your SSI score, and you might go, what the hell is this? So your SSI stands for Social Selling Index, and this is a metrics built into the back end of LinkedIn. And if you're on the free version of LinkedIn, the way you find it is you have to type in this URL on the screen. So linkedin.com/sales/SSI. Open it up in a different tab and you'll be brought through into a graphic like this. And you get a score out of 100, and this score changes every day. It's going to bring the cursor up. You'll be ranked in 2 ways. The first is according to your industry. So I'm in the top 1% of other social media trainers. Then according to your network, I have about 10,000 connections. So I'm in the top 1% of those 10,000. My score today is 86 out of 100. You will never get 100, so get over that. The best I've seen recently is 88. And that's another LinkedIn trainer, so don't worry. Anything over 60 is good. It means you've optimized your profile. If you've under 60, just spend that time working on your profile. And the algorithm measures this. So every time you are messaging or commenting or posting, it kind of feeds into the algorithm, and similar to the Facebook algorithm, the more you like certain posts and comment, the algorithm will show you more of that, okay? So the score is broken down into 4 quadrants here. Score of 25 for each, and my specialty really is on establishing your professional brand and your personal brand and building relationships. So I usually score the highest here, and I've scored lower for finding the right people. This is using the search bar, the LinkedIn search bar. So I haven't used it enough in the last day or 2, so that's why I've scored low. And the next one is engaging with insights. So this means going back into any of your posts and clicking at the very bottom through to the analytics, so you can see how many people liked this post, how many people commented on this post, how many people shared this post, okay? So that's what they mean. The building relationships, it's from the algorithm. It could be you messaging, it could be you engaging, it could be you posting. There's no magical formula to this. The algorithm just does its own magic behind the scenes. But I just wanted you to know there is a metric, it does exist, and it's called SSI. Okay, and if you listen to my tips today and flesh out your profile as much as you can, your score will rise. Now, to summarize my 5 top tips really when it comes to LinkedIn is number 1, be intentional. Why are you on LinkedIn? What do you want there to do? Okay, is it to create a network or increase your network? Is it to become a perceived expert or thought leader? Is it to find partners or associates to collaborate with? Is it to find new employees? Is it to generate leads? I'm sure it is if you're a business owner. Just be clear on what your goal is. The second thing is be you. And the first one, when you're clear on your goal, of course, you need to tailor your profile to your goal. I've already said that. And the second is be you. Do not compare yourself to anyone on LinkedIn. Just stay in your own lane, okay? Because we are different. Some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts, some of us will like video, some of us will like posts, some of us will write articles, some of us will share branded documents, some of us will share polls, some of us will hide, some of us will use messengers, some of us will use groups, and that is fine. Just do what works for you and rinse and repeat, okay? Be yourself. Do not worry about anybody else. And then, as I mentioned, first impressions count. So work on that cover banner, that headshot and that headline. Okay, optimize your profile to attract your target audience and sell yourself. Then it's all about the 2 P's, which was your presence and participate. Figuring out what works for you: home feed, messenger, groups, or a combination. And last but not least, be a giver, like Dale Carnegie said. Be social, be consistent, and cultivate a community. And that's how you get LinkedIn working for you. LinkedIn is a marathon, it's not a sprint. It might take 3 months for you to start to generate leads. It might take 6, it might take 12. I'm not going to lie and say it's going to be straight away. It's similar to a face-to-face event. You could be really lucky and show up and somebody goes, "Oh, Jennifer, I need LinkedIn help." But you know what? Maybe it doesn't happen on the day. So I have to show up the next month and the next month and the next month. Sorry, some traffic went past. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But you have to keep showing up to build that know, like, and trust. And once you've created that know, like, and trust, that's when people reach out to you, okay? So it is a marathon and not a sprint. I'd love to say there is a magical way of achieving results, but this is it. And it's just similar to any other marketing, whether it's email or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. You have to put that energy in. You have to be consistent. You have to be clear. You have to be focused. So that's it, ladies. Thank you so much. I've managed to squeeze it in just under an hour. I know it's quite a lot. Hopefully you found it of use. As I said at the start, do not be shy. Reach out and connect with me. I'd love to link up with you all on LinkedIn. Join my LinkedIn group, Networking Tips with My Super Connector. It's a safe place for you all to hang out. If anybody wants to mail me or look at my website, I've got more resources on my website. I've got a free 5-day challenge in there on replay, blogs, podcasts. Check it all out. And that's it. I hope to see you all on LinkedIn. I hope you're all feeling a lot more positive about LinkedIn. You can see why I love it, and I'm a complete LinkedIn nerd. I love it for the opportunities, okay? You can look better. And when you look better, what happens? You feel better. So you're empowered to reach out and you're empowered to share information. And then what happens? You can live a better life, especially if you're generating leads and you're generating business, okay? So who wouldn't want those amazing results, okay? So I'm going to shut up now because I could go on all night. So thanks for listening, and I hope you found this useful, and I will see you all on LinkedIn. Take care. Bye.